Art supplies, hot takes. Today I am sharing 3 art supplies that range from good to just gold standard. And that doesn't change the fact that I don't like them. My name is Roseanne, and let's get to this video. So I'm ranking these third to first, based on acceptable to I absolutely will not use. Number 3 is charcoal or charcoal pencils. I still occasionally use these, although they do gross me out. The dust factor, the texture, the grittiness, I really don't enjoy using charcoal, but I like the results and it's affordable. And it has a great effect. So that is number 3. The second one, this is probably going to be a surprise because most of my artwork is paintings. So number 2 is oil paints. I am loath to use them. I have no desire to use them anymore. You know, about 20 years ago, I was really into using oil paints and had used a good quality along with the water, I guess it was water-based oil paint. Kind of a contradiction, but those were fairly new things. Hey, I am going to just have anxiety waiting 14 days, 12 days, or whatever for the artwork to dry down. My workspace is small. There's chemicals involved, you know. I have just found that also when it comes to oil paint, I cannot skimp by with a cheap or lower budget. That has to be some money invested, and between that, handling the thinner, you know, I know it's safer nowadays than it used to be to handle oil paints, but still that's an extra hassle. When I could just use acrylic, I would rather work with acrylic. I am happy using a medium that dries almost instantly. I have no problem with that. I took the time to get used to it, and now it's just going back to oil paints. Ugh. I do have projects that I think would look good in oil painting, and maybe I could try digital, but that's just not likely ever going to happen. I've never just been interested in digital art. So maybe at some point I will get back into oil painting or give it another try. It would be one of those things that I would need the physical space to put a piece and not have to worry that something is going to happen to it while it dries. But then I don't need to have access to it, because if I see it and it's sitting there, I might not ever leave it alone. So I just stick to acrylic. All right, I was in the middle of that one and it got interrupted by a garbage truck. So the second was oil paints. I'd rather just stick with acrylics nowadays. And the number 1 art supply that I just cannot stand. Now, disclaimer, I know a lot of people love this art supply and it's beautiful, but that will be alcohol-based markers, as in Copics. Cannot stand to use them. I hate markers. I can use a pen or even like a fine brush tip pen as long as it's nothing bigger than like an eyeliner. But markers on paper or even Bristol, I just don't like markers. They're not comfortable in my hand. I don't like the texture of using them. They can bleed through paper. I don't like, but I mean, I paint with ink and that can happen with that too. I think it's just a bias. I do not like markers. And the Copics are not any exception. I have tried them a few times and I was immediately impressed with the result. I have tried to push through the gross out factor and the uncomfortable feeling of using them, because the first time I used a Copic marker was for an axe and some swords that I was illustrating for practice. And they looked just phenomenal, but I could not get over the gross out factor of the markers. So there it is, my hot take on 3 art supplies that are good, but I just don't like them. Are there any art supplies that you feel that way about, that just aren't for you? Maybe they worked fine, you just didn't like them? Go ahead and complain in the comments, especially if you've made it to this part of the video and have listened to me complain for the last couple minutes. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you will be here watching my next video. Have a great day.